G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be having a look at ArcolinuxB installing into Virtualbox. This is ArcolinuxB the Gnome version, and then we're going to, after installing it in Virtualbox, we're going to be having a look at real hardware, and that is the install on real hardware. And then we will be looking at making a custom ISO, and we will install that on a laptop. So 3 different scenarios here. So let's get started on that. We'll go to ArcolinuxB. Let's start that. ArcolinuxB, the Gnome version. And what I'm going to do is scale this up so it's easier for everybody to see. So this is the live version of ArcolinuxB Gnome, and it's running the XFCE desktop. Well, it doesn't have a menu or a whisker menu for XFCE, but it does have a right-click menu, and you can go through applications and so forth. Was looking for a display setting, but I couldn't find any display setting in here. Now, there's a lot of things in here, but I have looked right through it, unless I'm going crazy. I couldn't find display, so I'll just go with the scaled for now. You have the option of running Gparted or calamares. So if you want your disk sliced up into, now this is running EFI. So if you wanted to slice it up into a boot menu, a root partition and a data partition, then we could use Gparted right here. And I recommend, if you're going to do it that way, that is the best way to do it. If you're going to be using a boot partition and a custom one, you could 512 megabyte and your root partition, whatever size you want, then your data partition. But what we're going to do here is run calamares and just do a straight out basic install. So I'm just going to go next on that. Well, actually, let's just go back and have a look at about calamares. It's 3.2.18. Okay. And we'll go next, American English. Now on here, you can choose applications to install if you wish. So let's just have a quick look at this. I'm not running NVIDIA, so I don't need to worry about that. Intel Ucode and AMD Ucode, I'd have to look that up on the Arch Wiki. I'm not really sure whether that's referring to the open source driver for AMD and Intel. I think that's what it is. Now we've got, but on both installs on real hardware, I haven't touched any of these. So you've got these accessories, Calligra, Office Suite. You've got development, fonts, games, graphics. So you've got these choices here. Some fun thing there, internet. So you've got a few browsers there, plus Telegram Desktop, Thunderbird, Transmission GTK, LibreOffice, multimedia. You've got a few things there as well. Quite a few things to choose from. Now on the real hardware, I think I went for simple screen recorder to be installed. You've got some themes there, utilities, Virtualbox kernels and WPS Office. So you have quite a fair bit of choice there. Now, this is the thing that I'll talk about here before we go into real hardware and make my own ISO. What we have here is you can choose these things. Now, some of these things you can choose to install on your custom ISO, so you probably wouldn't want to select them again when installing your custom ISO. Now, the whole idea of the custom ISO is not to select anything here and to try and have as much as you can from the custom ISO and just do a quick straight out install, so you don't have to choose any of these. But you still have the option of choosing some of these things, even though you choose to put it in the custom ISO. So when I produce a custom ISO on real hardware, I will be installing some of these things like simple screen recorder, VLC, adapter GTK theme, and many things in here, simple scan, YouTube DL. I'll be installing all those things, and also LibreOffice. and Telegram Desktop and Thunderbird. So I don't need to choose any of those here, but there might be a couple here I might want to choose, but I could also choose to add them to the custom ISO if I want. So it's a good idea to take a look at this list and try and determine whether any of these things here you could add into your custom ISO, so you don't have to worry about installing any of those things. You'd only have to worry about your Linux kernel and your NVIDIA and so forth. Perth, Australia, next, and next. Erase disk, so I'm just going to do a complete erase. I'm not going to use a swap partition here, but swap with no hibernation and swap with hibernation, so you have a choice there, but I'm just going to avoid swap for now, and we'll go next. I'm just going to leave it all there as defaults, put in my password, and I'm going to choose the same password for administrator account and click next. Gives you a rundown here of what it's going to do. I'm quite satisfied with what it's doing, and let's install. And that is the install complete. And although I didn't select any extra applications to install, I did do that on real hardware, and we'll take a look at that. So what we'll do now is we'll move from VirtualBox onto the desktop real hardware and have a look at creating my custom ISO. So here we are in the desktop of ArcolinuxB, and just to go through how we actually got here. We go to Home and ArcolinuxB, click on that, and then there's a Build Your Own ISO, and I downloaded the Build Your Own ISO Gnome, this one here. I don't think it matters which one you download. If you want to download your favorite and then make your own ISO of something else, it doesn't matter which desktop you're running, you can still build another desktop environment from that desktop. It doesn't matter. And then I think it was download, and then ArcolinuxB, and then I chose the GNOME edition here, and then I downloaded the ArcolinuxB Gnome. That's what I did. So that's how I managed to get to there at that point. Now what we've done here is if I have a look, now I've got two file folders. I have two folders here. One is ArcolinuxB out, which is an ISO that I've already made, and I've got this here, which is the Arch ISO, and I'm going to show you how we get to that. And I followed this on the website itself. If we check that out, ArcolinuxB, and here. Build Your Own, and we go to the GNOME one here. So the GNOME one actually takes you to how to build your own ISO, but to download you go to the download link up top here, and then it shows you how to build it. What I've done is I've built two ISOs, or actually one here. No, that's changes I've made to the ISO packages, but I've got two ISOs here. One with the GNOME with apps and one with the GNOME with no apps. So I was just experimenting on what came up on the ISO and what didn't after install. That's what I was doing there. So what we're going to do is, I think I've got a good one here. I'm going to copy that to Documents and paste that. So that's what I've been doing. If I've made a good running ISO, I copy and paste it into documents here for now, and I use that to test it. And I think that was a good one. I've already running that on the laptop, this one here, and that came out pretty well. And I'm just pretty much going to run you through how I manage that. ArcolinuxB Gnome. I will name that good. I just want to know that that's the good one. These ones were experimental, but I think that one was a good one as well with the apps. I think that was good. That was my last good one there, so we'll go with that. So let's go to home. We're going to delete these two. We're going to move them to trash, and we're going to start from scratch. So what we're going to do is open up a terminal. Also go to the website. While that's open, we go to our terminal as well. And we're going to copy and paste some of these commands from Erik, from his website here. So copy that and paste, enter. Now I'm using GNOME terminal. If you were using the other terminal, that's the default one, which is, I think, Termite. If we go through the list here, you'll probably see Termite. There's Termite there. I think that's Control-Shift-V if you want to copy. So what we've done there is we've git cloned the folders there. So you'll probably find that if we open up home, we've got the ArcolinuxGNome there. What you can do is you can change packages in ArcolinuxGNome. So that's in here, the Arch ISO, and I like to open that up with the text editor. Now, I've experimented with a few things here. The only things that I'm really touching here is under the software from Arch Linux repositories, and I think mainly just there. I think you can do the ArcolinuxLinux repos as well. I think I did do that. Let's just check out what I might have done here. Grub Customizer, I don't normally use that, so I'm going to comment that out. I don't use Sublime Text. I'm going to comment that out. That was under the ArcolinuxLinux repos. We're now looking under the software from Arch Linux. Now I'm going to, under here, I'm going to put Blender because I want to install Blender. I'm going to install GIMP, so I'm going to uncomment that. GUVC View, just in case I need to check my camera. LibreOffice Fresh. Simple Screen Recorder. Now Termite, I don't really want Termite. I don't use it. So I'm going to comment that out. VLC I will install. And don't forget you've got headings here. So if you see 3 of these hashtags, that's normally a heading for, so it's like a category. That's a category, so that's applications category, a conky category, cursors, fonts, icons. So I'll take the Papyrus icons. I like the Papyrus icon sets. Now we've got themes. I'll take the adapter as well. Now Kvantum, I don't think I really want Kvantum. I'm not going to use it. Not in GNOME. I'm still not 100% sure how that thing works anyway. Document Viewer Events. I'm not sure if there's already a document viewer in GNOME. There may be already. Now there should be an image viewer, but I might just put in Nomax anyway, just in case. Now I'm not sure about Redshift because I think there might be already a GNOME version now for Redshift. I might leave that out for now. We can easily install that later. I'm going to put in Simple Scan. And because this will be on a laptop, I'm going to go for TLP for power saving. I'm going to install YouTube DL. Now we've got the ArcolinuxLinux repos, which we've done already. Now if we go up top here, I think if we go right up the top, you'll probably under packages, this very top one, I think you'll find under there, yeah, there's VI. I'll comment that out, and there's Vim. I don't use Vim, so I'll comment that out as well. But everything else I think should be A-OK to leave in there. And I think pretty much that's what I've done for the install. Oh, the other thing I haven't done yet, under software from Arch Linux repos, I typed in my own Blender, and down here under T, I will type in Thunderbird. Now I've tried to write all those things down just in case during the install there's something within the applications within the Calamares installer that I might want to install on top of that. I don't think so. I pretty much think I've covered everything, and if I haven't, you've got, if you've noticed down here somewhere, there's Yay. So you've got Yay there that you can install applications from the AUR, and you've also just your normal PAMAC or Pacman install if you need more applications. So that's easy to do. So I'm going to save that, and that's our packages done. So now what we need to do is go to installation scripts, and for the very first time we need to run this 30 build, which is the first time. Now what that does, that downloads quite a few packages from the internet, and it also makes your ISO. Now, if you need to come back to here and change this packages, and you want to, if you've already made an ISO, but you want to make changes, and you might want to take out Thunderbird and take out Variety and add something else, and then you save it, then you run this script again, then you on for the second time, you run 40, because it's only going to just update those changes you made. Doesn't need to download everything else again. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to open in terminal here, and we're going to run 30. So this is 30 here. So you type // the number 30, hit the tab key, that'll auto complete that command, and press enter. Now I haven't checked any of the, I'll put in my password here. I haven't checked any of the social media for ArcolinuxB because Erik is quite busy on the website. If you get any errors, then you may need to try the following day because he might be working on the website. And that's happened to me on a few occasions for the last 2 weeks we've been using Arcolinux. And then I've come back the next day and run it. I don't know whether you need to wait a couple of hours or how that works. I just came back the next day and then run it, and it was all fine. So there was just errors coming up here and there. Not a problem, but it does work. I've made quite a few ISOs as you can see. Now if we have a look in the home folder, you will see that there's a locked folder there called ArcolinuxB build, and that'll probably be build out or something like ArcolinuxB build out or something like that when it's finished, and that's where your ISO will be. And that was probably the one that I trashed at the start of the video, ArcolinuxB out. So that's what it's eventually called. This is just the interim folder in which it does all the building in, and it eventually becomes ArcolinuxB out, and your ISO sits in there. So we're at 93%. If you have a look at the videos that Erik's got out on building your own ISO, he'll tell you that when it's building, what it does, if we go a new window there, if you go to var cache pacman package, you'll see that this is where it's building all the cache, or the cache, whatever it's called, and that's where it's downloading everything here. That's why once everything is in here, you only need to run the 40 again, so you don't need to download all this again, and that's holding everything, I believe, in a cache. So if you need to redo the ISO, it's all there. But if you wanted to clean all this stuff out, and as you can see, it's adding to it right now. If you wanted to clean this out, you run .30, it'll delete the whole lot and start again. And I would have to think if you run .40, it'll add and remove the things that you've changed. I think that's how it works. So we're just about there. Now I failed to set default locale. That seems to come up every time I've made an ISO. It doesn't seem to have any impact on the way it works. So if you get that, I don't think it's a problem because it's happened on every ISO build that I've done so far. This is probably the 4th one. Now, as you'll see here, you'll probably see this folder here, ArcolinuxB-build, change to ArcolinuxB-out. So I entered my password and we're just waiting for that to finish. And as you can see, the ArcolinuxB out folder is there, and it'll probably delete this build folder there. Deleting the build folder, and there we go, ArcolinuxB out is there. So that is complete. Now you probably would have seen a small demonstration throughout the install. I was adding the medallion icon to the termite terminal, and it seems to only work in the termite terminal. Now I've switched it back off because it doesn't show up. So it was in this termite terminal which it showed up, but it doesn't seem to work in the GNOME terminal. So there may be a way of doing that. I'm not 100% sure. I'll just have to check that out. The Thunar file manager didn't disappear. So what I noticed with the Thunar file manager is if I add remove, now it came up in the Cinnamon desktop and it also came up in the GNOME desktop. So Thunar seems to be there regardless. And all I did was a search for XFCE. And you can move the about XFCE and that gets rid of just about everything. And then you just scroll. Once you do that, you might want to have another look. There might be maybe 1 or 2 things left over. And that gets rid of most of it. You can just leave it there, it doesn't matter. The Thunar file manager can be just left there to be used. It's no big deal. I just like to have just the default GNOME things in place for myself. Thunar, there we go. So just going back to here in our home folder, ArcolinuxB out, and there's my ISO. Right, what we're going to do here is we're going to write the ISO that I've created, which was last night. So this is the next day. I'm going to write it to USB. So we'll do that. Writer, USB image writer, which is the Linux Mint USB writer, and home, ArcolinuxB out, and there's the USB created. So open that. Write it to my Toshiba USB stick, 16 gig, and write. Put in my password. So that is the image written to USB, and what we'll do is, I was going to show you the installed desktop, but we're going to go through the install as well on the laptop. So let's do that. So here we are in the live desktop environment of ArcolinuxB, my ISO, the one that I created. And what we can do here is we can right click and we can go through the menu if needed. Now let's just have a look what's here. GVC view, simple screen recorder, VLC, let's see. We've got Office here, LibreOffice, document viewer, which is probably events, internet, Firefox, Thunderbird. So everything that I wanted installed is pretty much installed on the system, so there's no problem there. Now I wanted to check whether my sound was working for my microphone, and I cannot find, I think I mentioned it in on the install on the VirtualBox, that I couldn't find any system settings. So what I've done is on the right click here, open a new window here, go to File System, User, Share, Applications. Now this is like a XFCE, but it's very minimal, and it's probably enough to get the job done as far as the installation is concerned. So yet with File System, User, Share, Applications, and if you look in here, you'll see some of these without an icon, and they're all part of the Gnome desktop, and they are usable. So there's the settings there. So if we double click that, there's my Gnome settings. So I've gone through my system settings here and set up, make sure the sound is correct for this install to go through, and everybody can hear what I'm talking about, which is the most important thing. So that's how I got to the system settings. So you can do that, and I just upped this system volume because I could hardly hear it, but once I boosted that up, I can hear the sound, no worries at all. So that takes care of that. So you do have a lot of the Gnome features there, but they're not really in the menu anywhere. This is just like a custom XF. It's supposed to be XFCE. It's customized just to get the install job done. So this time we're going to run Gparted. So we've got the two installs here. We can do the Gparted one. Now we've got a full disk there. I'm going to delete that. 2.49, 2.5 megabytes of unallocated space. So let's delete that. That's already got ArcolinuxB on it, which was the ISO I created before this one, but I wanted to use the one that I did in the video. So I thought that was the best thing to do. So let's delete that and apply that first. So there's no EFI. So what we're going to do, just in case people want to know how that works, we'll do a, so 6161440 gives us a 60 gig, and enter that. Primary partition, ext4, add that, 528. So 537, 600, I'm not quite sure how much that'll leave me, 11 gig, okay. Add that, that's a second partition, and we'll do a new one here as 8192, 8 gig swap, and we'll make it a swap, Linux swap. Add that and apply that, and we'll just leave 3 gigs unallocated there. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm pretty sure this computer's not running under EFI, and I'm very sure about that, but we'll soon find out. So let's run Calamares and see what happens. So about Calamares 3218. Okay, next. Now here we go. Now I've installed LibreOffice and all that, and then you can choose to install it again. I don't need to because I've already installed it. Now I don't know if there's any other multimedia. I could have put Audacity in my custom ISO if I had have thought of it. But VLC, I think I've got MPV. We can install these things later. You can do it now. It just slows up the install a bit, but I'm going to leave that. You can just choose what you want here. So we'll leave all those. I'm pretty sure I installed GTK Papyrus icon as well. I've done that already. I'm sure on the custom ISO. Anyway, I'll leave that for now. And Australia Perth, English Australia. We're going to do manual partitioning here. SDA1 is going to be our boot partition, so we're going to format that. It's going to be the root, and it's going to be the boot partition as well. No ESP for the EFI system partition. And this is our second one. It's already been formatted as ext4, so I'm going to leave that as a data partition, and we've got our swap there. So that's all we need to do. Go next. Okay, so the name of this computer, ArcolinuxB-HP, which is the HP laptop. I'm going to use the same password for the administrator account and click Next. Flag partition dev SDA1 as boot. Install ext4 on system dev SDA1, same one. Install bootloader on dev SDA, which is the whole disk. So that's the cake, and these are the slices of the cake. And that's install. Okay, so that's the install complete, and we shall reboot and check out our installed GNOME desktop ArcolinuxB custom ISO. Here we are in the desktop of ArcolinuxB Gnome desktop environment. Then we have the welcome screen here. We've got release info, choose your project, core info, fast track, forum, donate, get involved, debug, and YouTube. Now, I'm not sure where the YouTube goes to. Be interested to know where YouTube takes you to. So we'll just check that out. And you've got all the social media down here as well. So the YouTube takes you to Erik Dubois' channel, which is a really good link. So that is the welcome app. So if I forget to link Erik's YouTube channel in the show notes, you can actually use the welcome screen to get there. So we've got release info as well. Let's check that out. So ArcolinuxD. So there's some release information there. We also have choose your project. Choosing your project there. Choose your project. Core info. So there's some core info there. Every month a release article, every month a what is new video, and every month a how to stay rolling video. So that's the core info there. Fast track, getting ArcoliNux, checking for ISO errors. So there's a whole heap of information that Erik's got on here in his welcome screen. That's the fast track. We got the forum as well. So that, assuming that'll take you to one of his forums, and there we go. So no problem there. Donate, get involved, debug, and that takes you to Erik Dubois' YouTube channel. I'm not sure. Telegram, Discord. Oh yeah, so they're links as well. So that's a link to his Telegram. And these ones must be links as well. Facebook. So they're links as well. So they're all links on there. So that's a pretty good welcome screen for Erik to get his information across to his users. So great job there. So let's close that welcome screen. And this is what we have installed. Let's just quickly go through it. I'm not really used to these icons, I must say, because I can't really figure out what I'm looking at. I'm so used to certain icons, so I may have to change that appearance icon. So I should have the Papyrus here, which is there, Papyrus Dark. So let's just check that out again. There we go. Now I can see what applications are what. It's amazing how our brain gets so used to looking for applications on a picture rather than probably reading the application name. I do that on the phone all the time. It's probably a bad habit, to be honest. So there's Blender. I installed Blender. I typed that in under the Arch repos in the Arch ISO packages before I created my ISO, if you remember that. And the other one I think I did was also Thunderbird, which should be here somewhere. Thunderbird, there it is there. And I also did VLC, LibreOffice. I unchecked, uncommented LibreOffice. GIMP I uncommented as well. GUVC View I uncommented. So they're all the things that I wanted on my ISO. And I probably could have put a few more if I had a thought of it. But it's really nice to have Simple Screen Recorder out of the box anyway. That's pretty handy. So as you can see, everything I chose is there. And we've got the up-to-date GNOME desktop here. So if we do a search for, say, Tweak, Maybe bad. Oh yeah, here we go. So as you can see now with this new GNOME 3.36, I think it is, it comes up with cards and it separates the searches. That's a great idea. I like that. Simple. Let's do simple. See what that comes with. Clocks, software, recommended software there, web, add remove. So that's the that'll be the PAMAC. So it gives you recommendations here under the search of simple. And we also got our main apps here, document scan and simple screen recorder. So that's a nice little feature there. Now they've also got, I think what Erik's got is Arco Tweak, Arco Welcome, ArcolinuxB Hello, and ArcolinuxB Tweak. Now we need to put in our password for this one. The Tweak tool. Now there's a whole heap of things. I haven't really looked all the way into this thing at all. I just know that it's there. So you got your auto start. So you got selections for auto start. And you could turn off the auto start for the welcome screen. You can also do that in the welcome screen itself. So you got a couple of options there. What happened? Yep, there it is. So start on startup. You can uncheck that, or you can uncheck it in the Tweak tool. Desktop installer. So you can install another desktop. So they're mainly the yeah, you got Plasma, XFCE, Deepin, GNOME, Cinnamon, Budgie, Awesome, Herfsloop. I'm not sure how you say that one. So there's Mate, OpenBox, Qtile, Xmonad, i3. So there's a lot of desktop environments to choose from there. You got your grub config. You can import an image if you wish. So you can change the grub screen. So when your computer first boots up, you can have these images here. That's really handy. HBlock, I'm not really sure what that is. Improve your security and privacy by blocking ads. Okay. Light DM config. NeoFetch config. Pacman config. Alright, so can you enable AUR from here? So I don't know what a lot of these, enable Bobo's repo, Hefter's repo, I don't know what they all are. Somebody might know. Arch Linux community test repo, enable Arch Linux multi-lib test repo. So I'm not sure what they are, so I'll leave them alone. And termite themes. Okay, I think I took termite out, didn't I? Yeah, because I don't normally use that one. Yeah, I did take out termite. So it's probably one of the most, it's an integral part of his system, I would say. So I probably should have left it in there. So it probably doesn't matter, you just can't tweak it, that's all. And there's a search again, the cards I'm talking about. And that's very handy search cards there. You also got variety, and you can, what can we do? Wallpaper selector. So variety comes up along the bottom there. And you can hover your mouse over here and it'll move, and then back over that way. And then you got your change background here as well. And there's your backgrounds there. So two options. I like this one better because you can see more of the background. You don't have a big window in your way. Right click and choose close, and that'll close. So I think you'll find also you've got these cards in here in your notifications. So that's a card as well. And you can close that. And you've got your calendar, your world clocks, and your weather all separated as cards as well. So I like that because it's nice separation there, I must say. And you've also got the Do Not Disturb toggle down here, which is a nice little touch as well. So GNOME 3.36 is coming along quite nicely. So also what you got here in GNOME is the extension app, and I'm pretty sure that'll be the one. Now there's a nice little search there. So EXTE gives you these recommended from add remove, characters, software, and web. So this is the new app extension tool that you can use. So there's a few extensions there already. So these are the built-in ones. User themes you got there. So if we was to, I don't know what the arrow does. So it gives you a Description. Okay, there you go. Load shell themes from the user directory. So it tells you what it does. Resize windows for GNOME software screenshots. Okay, so that's a nice little built-in. So you probably don't need the tweak tool, but you still need the tweak tool to do your themes and that anyway, I suppose, don't you? And you got this new power off, log out bit here. So if you choose that, you can log out, suspend, and power off. I think that used to be separated before. I think there were two different ones. Actually, you used to have to check your username in here and then log out. I think that's how it used to work. And then we've got utilities here. So you've got a few utilities, screenshot, system monitor, and so forth. So let's have a quick look at the system monitor and the usage. So it's a little bit of an old computer, this one. I'm not quite sure what it is. Let's have a look at the about, see if we've got an about on here. About, view information about your system. i7 CPU Q720 1.6 gig, AMD Redwood, disk capacity 640. It's Linux 64-bit GNOME version 3.36 using the X11. Software and memory is 5.7. Device name is ArcolinuxB-HP. And you can change that name if you wish from there. So there you go, that's the system. And what memory are we using here? 1.6. And I'm recording as well. And I've had Firefox open. So that's pretty good. CPU seem to have steadied out a bit. And yes, I am recording, so that's always going to take a little bit of resources from this system when you're recording, but still pretty good considering. And if I was to choose something where we need password, you can have a look at the so add remove software. We might need a password for that. There's Audacity. Let's install that and apply. And there is the new dialog password. That actually looks quite slick. I actually quite like that. Looks nice. And it's very consistent, you'll notice when you're using GNOME, that no matter which dialog password box pops up, it looks nice and consistent. And this is PAMAC, about PAMAC 9.4 ORC4. Let's apply that, PAMAC. And you can also have a peek at your password as well if you want. That's not my password, but I just thought I'd type something to show you that you can have a bit of a quick peek at the password to confirm that you're typing it correctly, just in case you've done it wrong. So that's a nice little touch there as well. So yes, you've got your preferences here, AUR, and you can enable AUR, but I think Yay was installed, I'm pretty sure, so we could probably just check that out quickly. So we'll go for our terminal, Audacious, let's just check that out. So yep, Yay is definitely working there, so no problem. Audacious is there, yep, so that's Yay working, no problem at all. So you probably don't need to enable the AUR when you've got Yay working out of the box. Now the other thing you can do is you can press the F12 key. So you can, to get the Quake terminal, the drop-down terminal, you can press the F12. So I have to hit function F12 for me, for that to work. So if F12 doesn't work for you because it turns your wireless internet on and off, then hold the function key and try that and it works. Now you can get a medallion on here in Termite, I think it is, which I haven't got installed. Now the medallion, just a bit of advice, if you want to get the medallion, which looks quite nice, and it's in, let's have a look at the configs very quickly. .config, neofetch, I think it's in, and there's these medallions here that can show up in neofetch. Now, I encourage you to go and watch Erik Dubois and do a search on adding medallion to terminal or termite. He'll have a video for that. And I encourage you strongly to go and watch his videos on Skell. Now, all you have to do in the terminal is type Skell, and that'll copy things over. So he shows you how to customize that and also how to stop things from affecting your settings so you don't want to mess that up. So I haven't been through that, so I'm not going to tell you how to do that because Erik's the expert in that area. But I encourage you to go and do a search for Skell on Erik Dubois' YouTube channel, which is in the welcome app there. Just click on there, go to his channel and do a search for Skell. And he will explain it to you. I've watched a couple of videos, but I'm still trying to absorb that information, so I don't want to pretend like I'm some sort of expert here because I am not. So if we do a search for Skell, I've never really understood Skell too much, so how to update your system with Skell and keep your personal settings and so forth. So there's videos there. I encourage you to go and watch them. Erik uploads all these important videos for you to get yourself up to speed on ArcoliNux if you're using ArcoliNux. So that was an install on Virtualbox, create my own ISO on real hardware, and you got to look at ArcolinuxB on that real hardware, which was, I think, another custom ISO that I did that was on the real hardware, and now the laptop on here, which is the custom ISO that we created and installed. And there's a lot going on there, 2 different computers and also Virtualbox, so a lot going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.